Watkins Glen is one of the most historically significant circuits in North American motor racing. This video will show the locations of the early circuits and their relationship to the modern course. Road racing was slow to revive after World War II, slower than oval track racing. ARCA, the Automobile Racing Club of America, which is not the same as the modern ARCA, did not revive when the war ended. The comparatively new Sports Car Club of America, founded in 1944, stepped up in 1948. Cameron Argetsinger, a prominent early SCCA member, decided the area around his family's summer home in Watkins Glen, New York, would be a good place for a race. Watkins Glen is located at the southern end of Seneca Lake in the Finger Lakes district of New York. This overview map shows the locations of all the circuits at Watkins Glen. The first circuit was located down by the town and went up and down the hill. Subsequent circuits were located at the top of the hill southwest of town. For the 1948 race, a course using public roads on either side of the gorge known as Watkins Glen was selected. These roads still exist today and may be driven if you want to get an idea of what that first course was like. A flyer for tourists describing the route is readily available in Watkins Glen. The race was held on the same course from 1948 until 1952. In 1952, a tragedy occurred during the race. As the first lap completed, a car went off the track and into the crowd along the main drag in Watkins Glen, killing 1 and injuring 12. The race was stopped and never completed. There would be no more racing on the original circuit. New York State banned racing on state highways, which also impacted racing at Bridgehampton on Long Island. The race committee responded by relocating the race to the southwest of Watkins Glen proper at the top of the hill. The circuit used only rural town roads, which New York State had not banned racing on. This overview map shows the second circuit and all subsequent circuits, as they are all more or less in the same place. The second circuit was not as interesting as the first and proved to have serious issues with maintenance and safety. The town found itself with a choice between reconstructing a circuit that the drivers were not very happy with or developing a new circuit. Thus, the second circuit was only used from 1953 to 1956. The second circuit is frequently overlooked, but it's important to the understanding of the timeline for the post-war closed circuit courses. Watkins Glen was not the first such circuit because this second circuit was used for several years. Thompson precedes Watkins Glen by more than a little. Parts of the second circuit may still be visited as they reverted to being normal town roads. However, because the third circuit was built over one end of the second circuit, a number of the roads became internal roads inside the modern complex or were removed. The third circuit would open for 1956. The U.S. Grand Prix and Formula One would come to Watkins Glen in 1961 and would race there every year through 1980, which overlapped the creation of the fourth circuit. Although the third circuit and the fourth circuit have much in common, there are significant differences. The third circuit pit lane was located on the short straight immediately before the entry to the S's. There was a chicane at the end of the back straight on the third circuit near the modern inner loop, but it was part of the entry into the loop, now called the outer loop. The left-hand turn, known today as the fast left-hander, was much more open and faster, and it led to a straightaway that paralleled the modern garages. The fourth course debuted in 1971. It featured a redesign and relocation of the pit areas and start-finish. It also provided for a short course which more closely resembled the third course, and a long course which added an extension known as the boot. The boot added even more elevation change to a racetrack that already had very dramatic elevation change. Some sanctioning bodies use the boot, some do not. NASCAR does not. After a number of serious accidents in the very fast loop, culminating in the death of J.D. McDuffie in the 1991 NASCAR race, a new chicane was added to the end of the back straight. The turn known as the loop was redubbed the outer loop, and the chicane was named the inner loop. This version of the circuit is the one in use today. There has been motor racing at Watkins Glen virtually continuously since 1948, despite deaths of both participants and spectators, disputes between race organizers and sanctioning bodies, and bankruptcies. A careful study of the track can yield an understanding of the evolution of safety from hay bales through an over-reliance on guardrails to more modern techniques such as gravel traps. The Glen remains a very fast, not entirely safe, and beguiling place to race. A link to the interactive map of the track we just reviewed may be found in the text below if you wish to play with it. Future plans for ghost tracks include 2 different sorts of video. More frequently, we will release overview videos showing maps of circuits such as Watkins Glen and Riverside, along with brief discussions of their history. Less frequently, there will be deep dive videos where we will examine the remnants of older circuits where possible. Potential videos include a road trip to review the first and second courses at Watkins Glen, and a trip to the site of Vineland Speedway in South Jersey, which is reportedly mostly still out there in the woods. These later videos will require road trips and cost real money, and that's where you come in. We have a Patreon page linked below in the text and are happy to accept donations which will allow us to accelerate this program. Additionally, YouTube subscriptions and video likes have real meaning. If you can subscribe, please consider doing so. Thank you.